Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. I'm your host tonight, Coach Kevin Bull Jones, back again, folks. Brought my wonderful friend back. We're going to talk some University of Alabama versus the Gators coming up this weekend. It is the big preview, and I brought no other than a great friend of the show, also one of the leaders of Atlanta Public School System Athletics. He runs the ship for us. I brought him back in to talk some Gator football against the Crimson Tide because he is a true Gator fan, and he does know some football, being a former coach in his days in DeKalb County as well. So if you like the show, please share and join. If you like the show, please share. Once again, 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. Well, sports fans, I have the one and only Jasper Jewell with me this evening. Once again, we're here to talk the big game coming up this Saturday. This is the first of many since the first time that we faced a team from Florida a couple of weeks ago. It didn't go well with Miami, so now we got those Gators. Welcome back to the show, Jasper.
How you doing, Bull, man? Good to see you, and congratulations on North Atlanta's 4-0 start, man.
Oh, wow. Yes. It is a great feeling. I don't know how much the players really kind of know what's going on, but we're still a very young team, and there's so much electricity in the air at North Atlanta High School right now in Buckhead area, and the community is certainly represented well this past weekend at homecoming, and glad to see you there as well.
Absolutely.
And I hope we can keep it moving forward as much as possible, and as soon as we get into that tough region play. But you're right. Right now, we're sitting in a great place. Hats off to Coach Jamie All, head coach.
And what's going on, my man?
Great friend of mine as well. My brother from another mother.
That's right.
Is what I call him.
That's a good dude right there. Real good dude.
He's done a great job of leading us thus far, as well as all the coaches on the staff. And so, yes, we are going through a great time right now. But definitely, you know why I brought you back. Now, my shirt says Dynasty. And, of course, on the back, it has, University of Alabama and everything that goes with it, the Crimson Tide. But here we go. Here we are after 2 games in the season. And I must truly say, especially from a coach's standpoint, I do understand why Coach Saban is feeling the way he is right now about where we are as a team. The coaching side of me definitely understands it. The fan side of me is ready to see what happens this Saturday going down to Gainesville. What are your thoughts right now?
Well, to be perfectly honest, this is one of those year of uncertainties for us. We lost a lot on offense, of course. We lost 3 individuals. We ended up having 8 individuals off our team be drafted or signed as free agents to the NFL. 3 actually in the first round off offense. Mm-hmm. So, we're looking to compete. We're looking to, continue to raise that Gator standard.
Right.
I think, quiet as it's kept, they don't want to say, but we have a bit of a quarterback controversy going on down there.
Whoa.
Wow. Emory Jones is, he's the incumbent. He's the starter. Mm-hmm. He's a redshirt junior. He's been in the program 4 years. But Anthony Richardson is a redshirt freshman, and he's about 6'4", 245 pounds, and he is dynamic. He's touched the ball maybe about 8 or 9 times with 4 total touchdowns. That's just how much of a playmaker he is. Pulled up a little bit with the hamstring issue on his 80-yard touchdown run on Saturday. But, Dan Mullen seems to think that he's going to be okay with, just a little bit of rehab and things of that nature. But I think I hate to say it, it's only a matter of time before he becomes a starter. So, we're excited about the challenge. University of Alabama is a phenomenal program. They bring a lot of pride, a lot of history, a lot of tradition into the swamp on Saturday afternoon at 3:30. But I think we're up to the challenge. In my opinion, they are the measuring stick of the SEC. Right. And if you want to see where your program is, how your program is progressing, you have to play teams like that. So I'm excited about the challenge. I'm looking forward to it. I'll tell you right now, I will be right here with my full Gator gear on from head to toe on Saturday watching CBS Sports. But I'm excited about it. I really am. I kind of hope if we lose, I'm gonna feel sorry for my wife and daughter. I love them dearly, but it won't be a good day in the Jewell household. That's for sure.
We'll see, Jasper. We on the other side of the road down here on Tuscaloosa Avenue. I like to call it down here at my house. But we can't even mention the words lose. If anything, we have a standard of playing that we really need to get back to. I think that Coach Saban is pretty. Listen, here's the hardest part, and this being a former coach, when your attentions, when it on paper, when you just have an insurmountable odds of a team being able to accomplish as much as they want to beat you on a game on Saturday afternoon, such as the situation with Mercer and Alabama. Now hats off to the Mercer's staff and coaches. Those kids came out to win. It wasn't just a paycheck for the university. It was ability to raise their level of expectations as well. And on paper, it didn't sound even at all. And the last time Mercer had played Alabama, Mercer lost 56-0. So for it to turn into the game it turned into in the second half, and with Bama being up by a tremendous amount in points, the hardest part, and this, is when you have a big lead against a foe that on paper you're supposed to dominate. And then you get up with the big lead, and now you have to coach the rest of the game when you start putting backups in, reserves in. And that is the hardest part of coaching a team that has excelled so much in a football game till you have a lopsided score, but you still got a whole half to play. And I think that's something that Coach Saban and staff faced. And that is so tough to do because now you're really wanting to give your younger players an opportunity to show what they can do on film, and you really don't want to have your starters play the whole game. But by the same token, you don't want to run up 80 points on the team. But when the team starts fighting back, they don't lay down. Well, now you got a different kind of ball game, and then in that case, Mercer did score 2 touchdowns, one on the deep pass, and I saw Coach Saban blow his head gasket. He blew a head gasket. I mean, a big engine head gasket.
He did. I saw
because
that.
it was the defense, the coverage scheme is not that intricate, and they got kids to run, but he blew one. And you and I both know that's the hardest part of coaching in games such as that. And Mercer wouldn't back down. And they do have some positives now to take from the game. And so now we're in a tough situation.
You're not in a tough situation. Come on now. You got out of there basically injury-free. Your starters did what they needed to do. Your quarterback is playing phenomenal.
Yeah.
You lost a big blow on defense last week. I hated for that young guy, that linebacker number 4. What's his name?
Christian Allen. He's out for the season, but hopefully he'll be back if we go when we go to the playoffs. Who knows?
If you go to the playoffs. It's a long season ahead of you, young fella.
You said if. I tell you what. Now you made my head pop up because you turned around and said if. And here's what I do know. I do know that we did suffer a minor scare with Will Anderson. Once again, one of my favorite players in the program, and just brag about him tremendously because of the person that he is. He's just a great standard of measure of kids trying to get the job done with a All-American personality and smile. Scare, number 5 for Mercer, cut his legs out. I thought blocking below the waist was illegal.
Downfield,
also running backs cutting outside linebackers, and he almost blew his knee out. He almost cut his knee out. Thank goodness Will is doing much better from all reports. Now, is he 100%? I don't know, because in my mind, playing Florida, you can't roll on 80%. with Florida. You have to be 100%. Maybe Chris Braswell kid gets a chance to play now. I don't know what the status is, if he's questionable for the game, but certainly Coach Saban is going to make the best decision for the team and for Will. But, that's tough to have that scare because, we both know as coaches that those are the things that you hate to have happen when you play a team that you're supposed to, on paper, take out pretty early in the first half of the game. And now you got to worry about your starters getting hurt. So now I'm one of those players that, I'm on edge now to see what are we going to be, what is his status, and are we going to be at full strength? Because make no bones about it, it's still Dan Mullen's offense. So we don't need to show up without all our ammunition to be successful, especially on the defense side of the ball. What is your thoughts?
I agree. And we too, we're keeping our fingers crossed about two of our key players. Vontrell Miller, starting inside linebacker.
Okay.
He went out the game on Saturday, and his status is questionable right now. We're gonna see how he responds to treatment in practice. And so is John DeLance, one of our starting offensive linemen. He had a bruise. We seem to think that he'll be ready to play. But the biggest thing for me is Anthony Richardson. Okay. Anthony Richardson is 6'5", 245, 250 pounds. He's a freak of nature. Like I said, he pulled that hamstring. We don't know. We think it's more so of a tweak. We don't know how serious it is. But he's a difference maker. He's a game changer. And you have to defend him a little bit different because he runs like a deer. He runs a 4.40 when he gets in the open field. He seems to have a command of the offense, and he just has that uncoachable instinct of just that moxie about himself that, that he just has. And I love Emory Jones. He's been a dedicated Gator now for 4 years.
Right.
This is his 4th year in the program. He's done everything that he needs to do. He should be graduating soon. He got a lot of reps under Trask and under, so I like the fact that he's been a loyal player for the University of Florida. But it's all about the X's and O's and the Jimmys and Joes at this point.
There you go.
You have to put the best people on the field to give you the best opportunity and, the results to win the football game. So I'm going to be excited about Saturday, just to see how this shakes out. And like I said, it's an early measuring stick for us. If we drop this game, we have an opportunity to see him again in the SEC championship.
Well, I wouldn't say that too fast because
I'm going to say that fast.
Athens, there's some dogs up in Athens.
Oh, you talking about that same team that we beat last year almost to death? Yeah, the University of Georgia. That team. I got you. I understand. Well, I understand.
Well, listen, that was last year. Now they got one of the top defenses, if not the best defense in the nation right now. And I mean, they're just smoking people away with their defense. And that is one thing that concerns me about where we're going to be for this game against you all, because keys to the game. Let's talk about them. The defense of Alabama against the offense, and whichever Coach Saban has already come out and said it doesn't matter which quarterback comes and plays. They both have some pretty good skill sets that can be threatening. And everybody in America knows, of course, one of our Achilles' heels has always been a very athletic quarterback. Now you're talking about one that's bigger than some of the linebackers we have. And if we don't have Will Anderson out there chasing him, that's a different ball game. Not saying that Drew Sanders and some of those other kids can't handle their own weight, but we're talking about a quarterback who, because we play a lot of man coverage, our backs are to the quarterback a lot of times, a la a couple of years ago when LSU and Joe Burrow was able to scramble on us. We don't want those things to happen again. Coach Saban does understand some of the weaknesses, if there are some weaknesses in the scheme that what we do. But I can surely tell you, as a defensive person, one of the concerns when you have an athletic quarterback, you might end up having to play a little more zone than you want to. But think about it, Jasper. We are a very good defensive team, and we've got a lot of veteran players. And maybe just as far as the reserve players are concerned, we did not shine in the second half. and deservedly so. Coach Saban is 38 hot. We have a chip on our shoulder. And he even mentioned it, going back to the old school way of getting things done, because those results that we had last week with Mercer scoring 14 points were just not acceptable. So, in other words, I'm telling you, for our keys of the game, as far as I'm concerned, is our defensive play to hunt down Richardson or Jones. Whoever lines up, he can get it all night. That's what we want to do. Man coverage, a lot of it, I don't know if we're going to be able to do as much as we want, but I think that with 4 linemen rushing or definitely 3 linemen and a backer, we're going to have to, if Will Anderson doesn't play, I will admit that is big. Because I don't think offensively you all are going to stop our offense at all. I don't see it happening. And that's probably where we carry the game.
Well, let me just say this.
Punishing part.
I beg to differ. Number one, your quarterback hadn't seen the blitz package that he's about to see this weekend.
Yeah.
He has not seen it. He could sit back there against Miami and eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's how much time he had. Okay. And he played against, God bless Mercer, but an inferior opponent in Mercer. We're going to bring all sorts of blitz packages to him to see how he responds to those blitz packages. I am concerned defensively. Sometimes I think our defense can be a bit too complicated, and we have problems with lining up quickly and being able to, adhere to what we have going on and assimilate what we're doing in a orderly fashion and get lined up. And offensively, we have to find a way to establish the run, some kind of way. I don't care if it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. We have to find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. I don't care.
How about negative 3 yards? I mean,
okay,
you certainly, Jasper, can't think that you all
there are going to be a lot of quarterback powers. There are going to be a lot of quarterback sweeps. We're going to get the We're going to get to the perimeter somewhat. We're going to do some things to try to establish the run because our offense this year, whereas last year we were pass first, run second.
Okay.
We're back to the old Dan Mullen spread option type style football where we're going to run the football to set up the pass. So we don't have a choice in the matter. Emory Jones cannot have, I tell you what, the last 2 football games, Emory Jones, first game of the season, he forgot to play and ran a quarterback sneak from the 4-yard line. The 4-yard line on 4th and goal. Of course, he didn't get in. He also threw an interception on the goal line. There's 2 mistakes. This week, he ran a play on the 6-yard line. He went the wrong way. The back went one way. He went the other way. So we can't have brain farts like that. We can't have miscues of that type of magnitude if we're going to stand a chance. And I understand that we're playing in the swamp. I get it.
Right.
I understand the crowd's going to be behind us. It's going to be a raucous crowd. It's going to be rocking in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. But again, you playing arguably the best football team in the country and the best football team that you'll see all year. And you have to be able to line up right and do the things you need to do. One thing that stuck out in my head clearly was last year when we played you guys in the SEC championship, which, by the way, was a great football game. 51-48 final, 51-47, something like that.
Yeah.
What killed us on defense, we couldn't get off the field in 3rd down.
Right.
We had 4 personal foul penalties on 3rd down that were drive killers. And all of those penalties resulted in you guys going down and scoring. We have to minimize the penalties. We have to make sure we're in tune with our assignments just to give us a chance. Right. And I think if the game is close, if we're able to keep the game close, we have a chance. But I can say this. You better get us this year because next year won't be enough. I'm telling you right now. You better shoot your eggs and get us this year. You better shoot every gun, every bullet you got. Every bullet you got in your arsenal because next year won't be the same result, I guarantee you.
Well, I truly feel like after the pounding you all are going to get this week, the last thing you want to do is think about Crimson, Alabama, anything. Matter of fact, you see if any Gator fan sees an elephant, he or she might just break out in the hives or start have allergic reaction because I truly think that the ground and pound, I think you got a point there talking about some of the things that Todd Grantham is going to throw at Bryce Young. I think there's some things that are different that he hadn't seen. He had the live action with it. I do believe he's going to throw some things that could disturb Bryce a little bit. And that's why we're going to have to go ground and pound and just take our big bodies and throw them in on you guys' interior front seven and ground and pound, because I do believe you all are going to jump out, start the game down in the swamp, all the noise and all that. I can't even get my hands to even make that, that little crazy,
normally those elephants can't do those type of things. Their hands all bent and.
Well, that's because we're used to stomping on people. Okay. And when you stomp on people, those hands and toes are going to look ugly and crusty. That's because we got particles from the people that we demolished. Okay. So when you talk about that, Jasper, you got to talk about how dominating our receivers are. Mechie, Jameson transferred. I don't know how he got out of Ohio State. I don't know.
I don't either.
He came to the right place, but he seems like he has new life. And I agree with you. If Todd Grantham starts sending those players at us, those blitzes, those zone dog blitzes, and we have a problem with it. We need to be able to get the quick passing game going, but more importantly, the ground and pound is what's going to have to be sufficient to weather the storm. And we're going to have to weather a little storm, sports fans. I will admit it, a little bit of a storm going down in that swamp. But guess what? When the skies open up a little bit, and one thing Coach Saban's going to do, I know it, and you know it, sports fans, is that whatever mode of operation he's going to be in, one of the common denominators will be finishing the second half the right way of the football game this Saturday at 3:30, because he wants to make sure that the punishing part of what we do, we don't let off this time. And yes, it was from some of the starters as well as some of the backups. But, as coaches, and it, we try to give kids opportunity to play, because when they're recruited, they're saying you're going to get a chance to play in Division I football game against some big-time schools or just play for University of Alabama. So we did that. It hurt us a little bit. But the greatest part about it is it's a great learning tool for this week. I wish I could be a fly on the wall at practice, because I know the ground is shaking, because you're right. Those crusty hands and toes, we just stomping on that turf, and we getting ready to mash some things down when it comes down. And we might come out of there with all that leather off those Gators hides. We might have a lot of leather coming back home, maybe some new bags, some new boots, whatever the case may be. It's going to be a lot of hides getting torn up, and we're going to have some lot of leather to bring home, because deservingly so, the best Alabama game that can happen for a whole game, it needs to happen coming up real soon. It needs to be a complete game, and that will be victim number 2 from Florida. I think that place they call the U is the first one.
I don't care anything about the U.
You guys be the second one.
I could care less about the U. The only thing I have to say, sir, is for your sake, you better pray we don't win, or else I will be the host of this show, and I'll have you back on next week. Okay? How about that?
Oh man,
I have you back on this show next week, explaining what happened. What happened? What happened to the big bad wolf?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I did say during the course of the season, I predicted us in the championship game, but I also predicted we'll have one loss this season. I don't know where it's coming from, but we've won national championships with one loss. That's the ironic part about it. So what I'm saying is not really far-fetched, but just hear me out on this, because the keys to the game are going to once again be our running game against your defense. Okay. And then the second thing is we got to weather the storm. Third game is we have to make sure that whoever is lining up at quarterback for you all this Saturday, if you can play do-si-do, merry-go-round, peekaboo, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it, whoever lines up against us has to run for his life. That's the biggest thing. And the only way we can do that is Coach Saban and to turn around and start, turning loose those studs, turn them loose, and let's go after them and have a chip on our shoulder. That chip is going to be very important, because from a character reference, we got to be ready to prepare for sudden change. I think you all are going to give us some sudden change in that game. and we're going to have to find a way to overcome it. What are your final thoughts on the game? Tell me what you think, Jasper.
Well, realistically speaking, I'm a Florida Gator fan. I've been one for about 36 of my 49 years on this earth. We're a young ball club. When I say young, not necessarily in age in terms of freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, but in terms of playing time.
Yeah, playing time.
If we don't keep the game close early, it can get ugly. But I think if we keep it close, we minimize all of our mistakes, it could be anybody's ball game. I mean, I have tremendous amount of respect and admiration for the University of Alabama, Nick Saban. What he does over there is second to none. But I think it's our time to show people that University of Florida, we belong. We were written off for dead in the SEC championship game, and we were one possession away from winning the football game with arguably the worst defense in all of Division I football seemed like last year.
I would
We're
agree.
much improved, even though we lost a lot of weapons on offense. But this is Dan Mullen's style of offense. He's used to having offenses like this to where he can mix in the run, he can mix in the pass. So I'm just excited. I'm praying for a good football game. Mm-hmm. I pray for the health and safety of both teams.
Yes.
Best of luck to Coach Saban and Coach Mullen. And I'm excited for a great football game on Saturday.
Well, do me a favor. Make sure you keep your phone. Sports fans, I'm telling Jasper Jewell, my boss and the athletic director for.
How about this? I'll keep both of my phones on.
You do that.
I keep both of them on. How about that? Okay.
You keep, so all right, sports fans, you heard that.
You can call me from either. How about that?
Hey, listen, I'm gonna stay on that. Listen, mine will be in my hand, and I'll make sure that I touch base with you because I want to know how you're feeling when that pain hits you every time on third and long and you have to come off the field. And the worst thing you see is a punt returner back there for University of Alabama, and we're about to run a punt back for a touchdown. Special teams will be another key to the game. I think that's an area that we will shine in. And guess what, sports fans? I'm going to predict the score, Jasper. Are you sitting down? Because I'm about to predict the score. And I don't want you to sit down. I know you're at home. I don't want you falling out your chair. But I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to win by at least 28 points. Okay. At least 28 points.
I hope so.
It's going to be for
your sake, I hope so. For your sake, I hope so.
It's going to be punishing. But it's going to be a great game. I think that we're going to have to weather the storm. And you all will, playing with all that energy and all that rah-rah and the chomping and all that stuff. It's all great till you get hit a couple of times. And hopefully prayers go out to all the players and coaches and all the auxiliary staff that'll be a part of that game. It's what the SEC is all about, the greatest conference in football. You enjoy it. I enjoy it. We both enjoy it. And we want to see a great game and knock on wood, nobody gets hurt and to the point where they can't finish a game. We know it's a contact sport, but sports fans, both for Jasper Jewell and his Florida Gators and myself with the Alabama Crimson Tide, we just want to see a great game this Saturday. And sports fans, I want you all to know that I will be calling in between Jasper, and I will be unleashing hell on him every time I get a chance to talk a little trash.
That's what I want him to do.
He's not going to do that.
I want him to check in definitely at half and let me know how it's going at the half. Okay.
Jasper, thank you for coming on the show once again, brother. I'm glad to talk some football with you, former coach in DeKalb County, and now currently our athletic director, the head of our athletics for the Atlanta Public School System here in Atlanta, Georgia. No other greater person to talk Florida football with because he knows it, as you can see, inside out. And, of course, me being the Bama fan that I am. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate you.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to sit up and chop it up with a little football with you. And also, again, I want to give you a heartfelt congratulations on helping those North Atlanta Warriors to that 4-0 start. Great job.
Thank you so much. Well, sports fans, if you enjoyed this show, please make sure you share with others. Once again, for our producer, Jeremiah Long, thank you so much for watching us today. And thank you for joining 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk. Have a great night.